Hello, is it me you're looking for? Hey y'all, I'm a little sleep deprived. I'm a little extra silly, but we're gonna start our Ask Me Monday presentation, which is an add-on to a previous presentation that was done. So gosh, I feel like it was done at the end of the summer, and I actually did the whole thing like live. I did this demo, which we're going to see parts of today. And let me just check the sound. We're going to see parts of it, and then we're going to expand on it because I've added some more information. And one of the main reasons why I want to recap this is first, there's some new members who may not have seen that, but also because, so I made a post and was something happened that prompted that post. So I'll tell you that first. So someone posted, maybe they knew or they didn't, that they didn't know that this was already a training group, but they posted about another training. They're so happy about it. It was just a really weird, worded really weird. Kind of seemed intentional, like to kind of troll. And then they showed the video and it was just like twist and twist. And then the person was retightening, and it was just, I could look at the grid. Things just didn't look professional. I mean, in a moment, I think the person could be happy if they don't have a lot of knowledge about how it'll progress. It just looks like, when you get your hair first done, it looks nice, whatever it is. But we're not always trying to set up locks for long-term with hairstyle. So it looked like kind of like that. And then I was like, our group rules is, you to come in and look like imply. I don't know if they knew this was a training group, but I was like, they clearly didn't know the foundational methods that we promote, also the group rules. And so I made that post right after to just let everybody know, because I've said it so many times before about professional quality trainings and paying someone to train you. So being discerning, first of all, about the credibility of the training program, the training founder, their relationship with what they're teaching, their experience, the real true experience, and what they're teaching, were they there from the beginning? How did they develop into all of this? And so I put that post up to let people know. I can't see who's leaving the comment. Sometimes I'll get your comments confused if you add multiple. So if you take a moment to give permission, not to me, not to Facebook, to StreamYard, to communicate with Facebook so they can show your name. All right, so I'm gonna, you can hear me fine. Good. Okay. So I just gave a little spiel about what prompted that post. And I also, sometimes I take some time away. I don't want to feel like, I want to make sure that the information I'm giving is being well received, that it's wanted, that's understood. And so sometimes I won't reiterate a point over and over again, but sometimes I'll feel the need to just reintroduce myself. I am Jessica, founder of Microloc Mastery, also known as the Microloc Lady. It's called a little over a decade ago at the hair show circuit. When I was talking about Microlocs, people were like, what the heck? You were that Microloc lady. Because I always wanted to make sure that I distinguished what I was contributing to the niche of small locks. And as I was branding it, Microlocs way back when, it wasn't a very popular used term at all until the years leading up to now. So I'm also known as the Microloc lady sometimes. I do these lives, I do these informational sessions to make sure that people have opportunity to get important, pertinent knowledge that will help them to achieve, if they desire, the high quality results that they seek, the longevity, the strength. I started a large part of the beginning of my years doing refinement and repair. I know the ins and outs of all different types of issues that come up. I've serviced hundreds and hundreds of clients mainly out of the Brooklyn, New York City area starting in 2009. Okay, so I hit 15 years of having my own locks, and I always want to share this knowledge so that people, if they desire not to make a mistake or have Did they get the support that they need to avoid mistakes? Because I, walking in the shoes, know what it feels like, what it would feel like if I had something very minor or just a lack of knowledge keep me from the results that I truly wanted and truly felt I deserve. Oh, okay, y'all. I left that comment up. All right, so let's get into, I'm going to show you a real shortened clip of the demo that I did back at the end of the summer when I tested it out. I'm going to make this screen a little larger for you. And then we'll touch base after it plays. Okay. Oh, what? For many years, I've been talking about strong, refined locks that have a really strong foundation. I've been talking about problems with lock methods. But what I want to do today is show you putting these lock methods to the test. I'm demonstrating three, and you get to see the beginnings of what I talk about when I talk about how they evolve. I'm going to show you the pictures first. You see in this picture, there are three ways. On your left is the interwoven. In the middle is the braid. And to the far right is a two-strand twist. I use the same exact amount of hair in each section as if I was doing a foundation. You can already see right from the install size the differences, with the two-strand twist being the largest, the middle braid being widest, it's flattened, and the interwoven being skinnier. Do you see all the space that is in between that's starting to come out already of the two-strand twist? The space that's there. And then you can see the braid is much tighter, but it also has, in its pattern, has the space in it flattened. And then you see on the left interlock. What I did was, I did a light wash, like I would do any new install. First of all, I'm wondering how much that is actually being done, because the first wash is actually crucial to the installation. I don't see it being done sometimes, so that doesn't give you an accurate look when you just have a two-strand twist dry, braids dry, or even interwoven lock dry. You actually are not going to still get a realistic look until you activate that curl. If you stretched out the curl, it's in a style. So after a light wash, let's look at what they look like. So already you can see the differences in the two-strand twist right away. That changed the most. Then the middle is the braid, and the left is the interwoven lock. We're talking about the fundamental structure. This is dry, is that I see spaces in the braid as well, and the loosening that sometimes happens at the bottom of the braid. The unraveling can start from the bottom sometimes, and also sometimes these spaces, because it's flat, I could turn it that way it's skinny, I could turn it that way it's wide, the holes in there. It becomes a big project if we're going to close it all up. And the interwoven lock, yes, that could happen as well, but it's designed to lock cylindrically. This, where's the pattern? The pattern in the twist is it's very weak. It's easy for me to just stick my finger in and unravel. If you wanted it smaller or more refined and you started in another method, it could potentially be the method that used to start. All right, y'all. So that was for many. I ain't mean to play it again. Hold on, y'all. Many years. I'm having trouble. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. All right, let me make myself bigger while I fix that. So that was like a real summarized version. There's the video on YouTube that is even shortened, but it's about 24 minutes. And so I go into how it looks. So it started with a dry, and then I wet it. And I speak about the importance of that wash. This is something that actually, this is a nugget from the course that I don't feel, I don't know how many people understand that when you're dealing with locked hair, you're dealing with texture, you're dealing with curl. So what looks like a nice install photo looks really pretty. And I don't knock it. I think some of the parting is on point and all that, but I'm thinking about what it is supposed to become. So, having really neat and refined little twist and they're dry. I mean, that's a mini twist style to me until it is progressed. And that is a lot of the crucial element that's missing. I think even when people are shopping around and trying to figure out what it is that they want to do for their own hair. But I'm going to, I speak to DIYers, but also speak to the pros. And that's really where the passion really lies in being discerning about who is giving credible and knowledgeable information about what this process really entails. Long term could even be 5 years. It doesn't have to be 15 years. But I'm just having trouble going to the next slide because I want to break it down a little bit. Yeah. Let me just try to do it manually real quick to get to the next. This is like not letting me get to the next. Okay. So these are some of the photos of hold on, y'all. Make it bigger for you from that presentation. And that was dry. That was right before I wetted. Now, okay, here's another thing as well. This is a mannequin with obviously looser texture than most people's hair, and etc. But that doesn't take away the fact of how curly hair will behave in these patterns. Okay, so the one thing that I really like about the pattern that we use, the pattern I promote, is that it is designed to work exactly with what is happening with the hair. It works exactly with what the curl needs to do, as well as how it grows out of the scalp. So when we look at the other methods, it kind of, sometimes it gets this disruption to that. So when you get to the next, dry, right? And again, this was done quickly. Obviously, we talk about hair at the ends that would need to be pulled in more, but I wanted to just show even how easy it is for the hair to unravel out of the pattern of a twist at the end. It could happen to any of these, but interwoven braid, 2-strand twist. And then, so these are the slides that I used to show. So I want to just kind of show you. And then when I pulled up towards the end of that video, it was actually dry. So some people, I know that people say, well, I thought that you could, you know, start it with twist the braids or whatever. For your own hair, you can do whatever you want. You can start with knots. You can start with loop-de-loop. Like, I'm just joking, but on your own hair, I'm never the one to tell you what to do for your own hair. But if you have a result or a goal you're trying to achieve, and it's just a matter of getting information about what best practices are, what standards are, then you know, I'm happy to share that information. Especially, like I said, the beginning of my career had been about repair work. And my mentor, who referred a lot of people to me in New York, always said Jessica will be the one to refine and repair that, because it was a lot of issues that were coming up, which is why we branched out to use freedom of tools and systems and things like that, so that we can really prevent a lot of these things, or have innovation that can address them that didn't exist. So there are a lot of problems that people have reported. And I'm going to show you some visuals. Go away, y'all. I'm going to show you some visuals on that as well. So weak locks, lock breakage. Let me make this a little bigger. Locks unraveling, uneven lock shape, size, or bunching, hairline, locks not staying or locking, hair thinning, hair balding, lack of skill with styling, some things that people say, that has nothing to do with necessarily the method, but that's just a problem, some people say. Proper maintenance routines. But when we talk about those first 5, well, the first 4, I'm seeing it more and more when the foundation that's potentially could happen with any foundation, but you don't want to make this more likely because of the foundational method. So strong foundation is always necessary for the refinement and look. So this is a repair job. I'm showing you guys, so these are actual people that came into my Brooklyn studio between 2000, well, I had the studio like 2011 or 2012, but I've been doing this service out of my home and in different spaces before then. So this is between those years, the past 15 years. And so they come in for repair work. And this was kind of a common type of repair work where she had a lot of loosening at the ends. I'll show y'all a little closer. And this is just with our actual ideal method to start. So there's problems that can happen in any of the methods, but we don't want to create it more when we are not making the foundation as strong as possible, combined with the lack of skill on repair and maintenance. Repair and maintenance is actually the golden ticket to having your locks look great for a long time, not just at the beginning, not just, at certain stages, but through the whole entire process, no matter how long you have it. So this, her hair texture combined with, it looked like it looked like a couple of things were going on, and then sizing. She was one of the demonstrations I showed when it came to sizing as well. I don't think her sizing is the size that I would have done for her hair texture, but because you can imagine she was a 2-day rehab job. 8-hour sessions, we only got a small section of her hair because she also had a lot of new growth. Because her locks were so tiny, it took so long to just retighten, and because they were hardening and fattening at the ends, it had to be pulled through with care. So we couldn't expeditiously like we would normally do a really well-structured lock. We had to be very gentle and fragile. I say we because I had some team members I used to work with me out of this spot. And so if we had a big job like this, it was likely that a client could book with either of us. But that was a lot of the work that we've done. So I've been known to do the repair work. And I started, to be quite honest, also training my team we had to have certain structure and rules about how we would repair. But because a lot of professional team members are reporting more and more repair work that needs to be done, I have these conversations just so that in the market, in the industry, if people are looking for high quality work, that is something that is still there, still a standard, so that there's not a lot of cleanup work that happens year 2, 3, 4, etc., or you don't have to take it down. Also, her sizing, I say, was really small, but look at her, there's a lot of new growth. So she, things happen in life as well. We never want to shame a person for going through life, going through experiences, but we also want our hair to be kind of like, I call it like indestructible kind of. I too went, along with many other people who are probably watching, went through crazy life situations that really, were really significant sometimes. And you have to step away from taking care of your regular maintenance routines. Which on a clinical note happens a lot when women are depressed or going through certain things. And that's another topic for another day. So we don't want to shame people. We want to be able to go in there and say, all right, we got it. You got the skills to do it, but it should be combined with proper education and preventive work going forward. This is a bad photo. I thought I had a better quality photo. I apologize that this particular photo is blurry. But this is the fat puffiness that happens very often. Again, hair texture plays a role in it. You can even see where the size would be one thing and the ends were. So this was another rehab. This is, again, my Brooklyn studio, doing another rehab job, and a client, a new person. So I didn't do these installs, but they came for repair. And I did it before, digging in archives. I don't know if I could find but what I had to do was go and smooth out and tighten up all of these fat ends, because that's what they wanted in addition to the retightening. They were like, I wanted my hair to evolve the way it's supposed to evolve. And I said, yeah, your hair, it's curly. I think there was something going on here. I think actually that needed to be retightened, and I did a mid, like just rehabbing, flattening, smoothing out, defluffing what didn't need to be so fluffy. Oh, y'all, hold on. Because I didn't realize that I didn't take off the name of that business, that I thought that I cropped So I'm going to crop that so you can see that example. Why? Ooh, Canva is shady. I was like, I'm gonna make sure that I cut out. So let me do that real quick. And I did, but it appeared on it appeared on a slide. I was trying to show you an example of me scrolling and seeing a microloc maintenance of huge locks. So again, if you're coming over to the micro realm, the assumption is that you would like your locks to be small. As small as maybe not teeny tiny, but you're right, the right small for you that you desire to have because you like the look, the flexibility, the refinement, the neatness. And if you like bigger locks, people typically, you get bigger size locks and you don't necessarily call them micro. So that's my assumption. So if I'm wrong, or if I'm off or someone has a different opinion, I'm welcoming of it. I just have a certain thing I think about when I think of micro. I don't know if I could show y'all this because for some reason, let me try again. It is showing the name of that business. Let me see if it does it again. Yeah, it keeps doing it. So I don't want to do that. I'm not here to do that. I think I have a photo I can just throw up there real quick. Let me just, I know it's in my other presentation in the boot camp. Yeah, it'll autoplay because I can even show you this photo. So basically it was a skinnier root, real puffy at the ends, real loose curl texture. They styled it. It was supposed to be a finished product. It was called Microloc maintenance and it was very big. And I automatically saw that as it looked like the beginning of a repair job that I typically would have to do because the ends were starting to mat up really fat. And it was at a point where it could be, if she were willing to sit down for a repair session, we could smooth out and close that up. But I'm going to make sure I stay back on the topic of the different methods. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. The next picture is what one of our pros sent in to rehab a two-strand twist that was happening. And it was a very common thing. And so she wanted to share what happens. Although it's twisted together, seemingly like it will stay like a lock, she was retightening the roots and some of these were unraveled, some of them were together, but this was being, tight and the tension was good. And then the rest of these were really fluffy or starting to unravel in spots or spaces. And this is not even a looser curl. This is like a 4, it might even almost be a 4C. So it's not just the texture, but there's a possibility that it just will take a really long time to lock, and then it won't. If you want a seamless, consistent lock that's going to have the same tension and the same size, you're going to have to ask some, either know how to do it yourself or have someone go in and do a technique that'll bring all those hairs back in together in a similar pattern that you're using to retighten. And so, again, I say this on a professional. So as a pro, especially she came through our program and she's making her business on providing professional quality work. So she's focused on not just letting it go and knowing what could potentially happen. She was focused on making sure that the lock had the best base and strength. So as a pro, that is our foundation method. If someone wanted to, what's happening is that I think, some people want to try to achieve a look on their own that may not have the training or the understanding. And so they'll have a really interesting journey, or maybe they'll have really pretty results or some point of the way and have an audience. What's been happening over the years is that it's kind of been getting confused with that being one of the foundational standards that have been used to do it, but that you actually paid for training for, that you actually knew what the results would be down the line. And so that when the DIYer versus a pro is the kind of conversation that the distinction I want to make when I say that on a professional level, it is not something that I would have anybody pay a lot of money to anybody unless you want to start that way. If it's something, it was kind of like something someone or people felt were easier for them to do on themselves. But there's a lot of information that goes into getting a professional training for small micro-size locks. It's not just a technique or a rotation. There's a lot of before, during, maintenance, each evolution, each stage, each milestone, the combination of product usage and the combination of skill and technique, how to troubleshoot, how to repair, how to refine, how to tighten, the impact of so many different factors. So it is a professional level skill, and you can learn it. So, but I do want to make that distinction. So when people are like, but you can start, you can, yeah, if it, as a DIY or as an amateur, that's how some people have been starting it. But what kind of got me more upset was that I was finding that people were paying and they were coming into the program to learn, but they had already spent 800, 900, 1,000, getting something started that was something like this. Or that's when I made the post about paying to get trained. Like I said earlier, if you missed earlier, it was in response to someone who may have been troll posting in our group. And I immediately, me or someone alerts me very quickly and their post comes down. So many people probably hadn't seen it. She was saying, I'm so happy I got trained in X Microloc training or something program, which you have to be discerning. Anybody nowadays can say that they train and they have experience, but you have to understand, are they based on fundamentals and things? So it was a bunch of like mini twists. And then they were going in to do the roots. The exact thing that this person, was now getting cleaned up. And so I made that post because I realized that perhaps that person didn't know, or if they were trolling, I wasn't sure. But I'm not going to let I wasn't going to let it sit up, obviously, to promote another training in someone else's training group and program. This information I provide here are based on the standards of the Microloc Mastery System. Although a lot of information can be free and you can add on to what you have, what knowledge you have. We have a lot of people that come over, like half at one point were from Sister Locks. I'm friends with a lot of people. I give credit. But there's some pop-up Microloc trainings that, honestly, and I was very vocal about having to shut one down. They're training on techniques that I know that they're not highly skilled in. That this word, because why? So I'm not gonna. I'm trying to stay positive. I have to be honest, okay? Because it's hard. It's causing people pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of money, a lot of time. This was a person that I assumed you can see it's very not high quality. Again, she came in. This is when I started to realize, this was a few years ago, and I started to realize, whoa, what is happening on YouTube? What is happening? Because it is almost as if the foundation had always been, well, braids for bigger locks, yeah. But when you get to the micro, it's such a different realm. Even with the ideal techniques, it still requires so many different it's a different category. So she was finding the ends were coming loose. It was just braids. They were, and I almost turned her away. I tell people in a very nice courtesy, what you can, in a respectful way, as a pro, you don't have to take everyone that comes to you. You don't have to do everything that somebody asked for, but you can and you should, especially if they're receptive, educate them on exactly why, and just some information that can be helpful for them. If they're resistant, then they're not your client, because if they're so adamant and resistant, then either they can continue to maintain it on themselves, or they can find the like-minded. But if you are into the education and standards, etc., I definitely told her, I wouldn't have started this way. What would you like for me to do? Just retain the roots. Okay. So here's another thing. If she became my client, and then people asked where she got her hair done or how she got her hair done, and I said, And she said, Jessica, that is not really representative of my work or my values. So, but what I did do for her, I told her I don't typically agree with starting, this way. And you wanting me to rehab things that I are the reason why I don't start this way. So what I did, I said I will close. I was very honest. I said I will close up these ends for you. I will give you a little bit of a tighter pattern. And but I'm going to tell you that your foundation is not necessarily going to, it's not ideal, and it's not going to give you the results that you're looking for. This is a bad quality photo, but it's the only photo I could find when she first sat down. There's this hair all out, braid hair, and then I went in, closed up the bottom, tightened up her pattern, crushed it a little so that it wasn't just going to stay flat with the potential of loosening. It wasn't something that, it's a hard one because I think she may have felt bad, but then I'm also I give opportunity if you'd like for me to assist you in getting it, whatever, like rehabbing, fixing your grid, resizing it. But no, she wanted it. So you have to just determine whether, if you're going to do this on a pro level, whether you're going to take clients that you're going to clean up after, or if you're going to be adamant about allowing the foundation to be a certain way. But I think that the idea is that some people think, well, I'm just going to get someone to braid my hair and then I'm going to go and get it interlock, or I'm going to figure it out. There's a lot more that comes to that. If you watch the other video, even with the consistency of the two methods or more, some people have more than two things going on. So these are our student photos, because we're a community, and they submit in their photos for certification. And so using the techniques that we discussed, her hair is short, and I'm really, really commendable that she was able to grab all the hair into it. But what she's done is given her such a great foundation to start. My hair actually was about that length. My hair was 4 inches long when I started 15 years ago. And it looked very similar to that. She has kind of the similar density of my hair and everything, similar texture. And it looked, my install kind of looked like that. It was kind of sticking up and it was short. But I tell you, just taking the time to get it done well can give her a lifetime of the results that she's looking for. So it's not braids, it's not twists, and it's a refined interwoven pattern, because we even refine it further than just the typical or what is common out there. So what's being done, what I train on, is what people have used, what I've used on my clients for the past 15 years, hundreds. And people who have clients, you can easily get a client load of 40 people. So imagine over 15 years, you have some come, you have some go. You have some people come in just because they heard about you and they want you to do a couple of sessions. So that's how you learn the different textures. And I learned what wasn't working. I've seen what was being done differently. Her video is a little long. So here's another beautiful little girl, an install photo of one of our other students, did her daughter's hair. I really recommend doing a really great job on young children that you plan to keep locks in for a long time. I know a picture I meant to show you guys. One of our models, her hair, I don't know if you've ever seen any of my ads with the person's hair all the way down to her waist, past her waist, was a client who started her locks. She was in her client had, let's see, she, in the time of the photo, was in her 20s, but she started her locks when she was like 9 or 8 years old. And the quality of the grid of everything is just so immaculate all those years later. She's a grown woman. And so if I can find her picture for y'all, I will show you. Do y'all have any questions? Hi, greetings. So this wasn't expanded on. I'll post the link I think I did post the link in one of my previous posts to the other video where I compared lock methods, and I showed you just what we saw earlier, and I'll show it again before I close this out. Oh, that was quick. That was meant to be faster, I guess. So some people ask about curly ends and all these different things, and we saw that photo of the lady. Let me see if I can go back. The lady with not that one. That kind of knotted, detangled up hair is very likely to happen, especially for this kind of hair texture. But if your hair texture is tighter in a 4C, you might end up, if you leave any hair out, with like a big it could mat. You know, when you see freeform locks, when you see just, you know, really matted, just a bunch of matted hard hair, that's what could end up happening. So if you're looking for you know, curly end, because so first I would challenge you, first of all, to think about realistically what your hair can do. But I would also say to pull in, you can get the foundation good and then create that look that you're looking for. These are all clients I started. And so this is the old photo, but this is when I really like to do, this is old, over 10 years old. And so that curly look, you can create and achieve different types of looks. Keep the foundation strong. Okay, because this is, if you're in this for the long haul, you want your hair to be, those are some extensions I did real quick. We'll go into that real quick. You want your hair to be as strong as possible for the long haul, but you can achieve any type of look that you want. Even with this is extension ombre that I did with the client. And then rehab and repair work, I just bonus put these in because we were talking about starting with those foundations needing a lot of repair. But there's just so much innovation, so many different ways to achieve strong refined locks. When you started with the foundation, that is what I'm talking about, because they're going to evolve cylindrically. So now when I create these extensions, they blend in with her own hair. If she had puffy, inconsistent locks, or something different, it would be harder for me even to do this rehab work to match her hair. So it's just so important that the foundation is started right if you're going to get professional level. My computer is acting up. Computer's acting up. So before I close out, I just wanted to see if there were any experiences, any questions. And I'll show you when I close out, I'll show you that video again where I broke down the three popular ways that people are starting. And so my thoughts had always been that it wasn't common until the rise of exposure of a lot of people doing it themselves that did not, could not, would not, whatever reason, didn't get a formal training. And it's fine on their own hair, but it has spilled over into sometimes confusion with people who are providing this service. Not every dollar that comes your way is something to grab. So keeping a firm stance on your professionalism, the foundation that you're going to use, is really, really actually more profitable than, because I've had more than a few pros, even who were formally trained in like Interlocs or something, say, well, I have people asking for, 2-strand twist installs. So I implore people, sometimes we got disconnect from the chatter of what we see. You might have YouTube and then IG and all these different things convoluting basic information. If you have any knowledge or experience with locks and locking hair and the locking process, kind of clear out all the clutter and just go back to the fundamentals. How's hair lock? Do I need to get more knowledge in that process? Is it something, am I seeing long-term results for this? Or are we seeing people who grew out maybe that foundation that they started with, and now you're seeing interwoven. Now you're seeing more of the ideal. And that happens a lot too. Or someone who's got a lot of rehab and repair done on one of the other methods, and now it looks consistent. It looks fine. But imagine just not having to go through it, just having everything evolve the way, ideally the way it should. So I say when people start asking questions like, well, I want to start with extent, like micro, we call those braids, extensions. I'll also go back and say, have we forgotten like what we used to get back in the 90s, 2000s, what I got right up until I got these locks? Never did I intend. It's almost like we knew, like you keep these braids in, you're going to have lock roots and you're going to have braids and it's not going to look ideal. But then it's almost, I don't want us to forget that and think that braided extension, whether it's human or not, whether, straight, that it is going to look and magically turn into a cylindrical kinky hair lock. It's not going to look the same, and it's becoming a lot of really problematic is the word of the day, and cleaning that up. So I've done Microloc extension rehab jobs galore. Also providing my very first 2009 full head and having her still have her locks, not extensions anymore. Obviously, going in 14 years, she now is all hers, longer than mine. Her hair is, but just being able to have proof and evidence of how things evolve when you use a certain type of hair, when you use a certain type of method, revising the method, innovating the method. It's not something that just I'm pulling out of the air. It's real hands-on experience. So I've seen progress. So I'm just always what something in my spirit is saying to tell people to not forget about what they already know, what you already know about what could potentially happen and think it's going to be otherwise, because you don't want to, you save yourself some heartache and pain by just cleaning out the clutter and being more discerning, because some things are for show. Some things look great. Some things have really nice filtered photos of bright light and it's a great angle and it looks really good in the moment. But if your goal, what is your goal? And does it align with your goal? And have you done enough research and you have enough knowledge and foundation knowledge and to go forward? And are you okay with how would you feel if it didn't evolve that way? Do you have support to get it repaired? Just how do you feel about the whole process? And I asked myself that before. I spent way back when, I only spent $800 because this was 2007. I put my deposit on my hair and I was like, this is a ridiculous amount of money. I was like, I can't tell anybody I spent this money. I told my mother, she was like, you dumb. You're so dumb. She was like, what? $800 on your hair? What they gonna do? Thread it with gold? Like it was, and that was, I got my hair done January 2nd, 2008. I put that money down in 2007 and I went on vacation. I was getting broke. I was like, if I sit in this chair, my hair is jacked up. I will look like a fool. I will be angry. And it was so not, I don't know how common it was, but I don't think it was too common that people made that type of investment. But I was trusting and really worked out well to my benefit. I was very happy. So that's why I said, if it didn't, or I've seen people, I've had people in my chair cry because they're like, I just lost my father. Like, so they find me somehow and they're like, can you fix? Like I don't know if my hair is doing what it's supposed to do. This is a real example of a woman that came to me. I said, okay, come in. I'll do a consult and then we'll look at it. And so there was issues with the grid. There was issues with the actual integrity of the lock itself. So we explained what would need to be done. She sat there quiet. She said, my father just died. Because I quoted a price. She was like, I don't know if I can pay this right now. I did not expect all of this work to be done. And I wasn't gassing it. I was like, we could, or we can not do it. But she clearly wanted it addressed. Even for the hourly rate, it's still money that she would have to spend to fix something. And so she kind of like broke down a little because she was just like, this is a lot. Like, I didn't want to worry about my hair. She's like, I have so much going on in my life. I didn't want to worry about my hair. So those who don't know me, I'm professionally a licensed therapist. Right? I'm actively a licensed. I've been a licensed therapist since I started this business. And so I can connect with, I feel empathy for that process because I also know what it feels like sometimes. So long story short, that is the passion behind why I do this. Why I don't have to do this, why I get heat from, why you focusing on hair, because I've seen how transformative it is, how many women have felt the confidence to provide this service, and they're making so much money now, like, and they feel confident because it's like, I can tell when someone really invests into quality knowledge, even if you don't have all the funds or whatever, but you're still invested in getting a great result versus, I don't know what people think, but I do know sometimes I'll see people not value the information or they rush through something or they won't really pay attention to something and it shows up somewhere because it's just taking a moment to, I did some hard work. I listen to people who've done things for a while because they've done a lot of the mistakes. I've done a lot of the mistakes or trial and error so that I can take back what has worked for a lot of women. I say like 99% of women is the rotation, all the things that we are learning in the program. And why I wouldn't, in good faith, feel good charging anyone money to do what I tell people, twist or braids. When you first we could, I don't know. It just doesn't show an investment of really learning a technique and all the nuances of this technique that's designed to create, the strength. But yeah, I could go on. Y'all not making any comments, or maybe I'm not seeing the comments, or maybe I don't know if what I'm saying is her. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this up. If you feel this information has been helpful, and or anything, let me know. If you are watching the replay, if I keep the replay up, because if y'all give me bad feedback and say, I don't like what you said, you made me mad, I started my hair like this, and I'm gonna, I always say, I'm not speaking necessarily to the DIY amateur who's doing her own hair and has her own time to, I am really, the investment gets more important when you are putting your rent money and you're entrusting someone's skill. That's when it becomes more serious for me. I've done all types of stuff in my own head. Like and nobody could tell me what to do with my own hair. I want to, when I used to have a perm, I'm like, y'all gonna tell me I can't perm, or I can't wear a wig. I get that. I feel like that energy feels like it's being touched on sometimes when I talk about methods. It's not that energy that I'm sending out. I'm not telling you what to do. It's more of what, I've been 15 years in waving this Microloc flag, trying to have people get these great results. I know how amazing it feels. I'm seeing people transformed in the chair. They are walking out of the chair like $1 million freaking bucks. Women who are going through divorces, women who've been told, whatever, their hair is ugly or this or that. And they sit in my spirit is in me. Sorry, y'all. They sit in my chair or somebody else's chair. And they come in, I can see the whole demeanor change. They come in and cover it up, my hair. Sorry, they're apologizing for their hair. What the hell are you apologizing for your beautiful hair for? They're sitting in a chair. We have a great exchange of energy. Hopefully, as a professional, I'm giving good energy back. They're reciprocating it. They leave out that chair like they are on a runway, a freaking runway. They're flipping and flinging. They putting lipstick on in the mirror. I'm about to go grab me a coffee or a lunch. I feel great. Thank you. The bond in the relationship is so good. You're going to tell me. I have experienced that. I know I see y'all comments coming in. I have experienced that. My experience as a client, and then my experience as a pro. And I've seen how beautiful the relationship is, and also how beautiful that person blossoms into, because it has always been more than hair. So when I talk about these things, and I'm speaking on a pro level, I want y'all to understand, I'm not just a random person who just played in her hair. I invested $2,500 when I was broke in 2009 with no furniture from the person that started My Locks, who we worked together. I told you we weren't a part of Sister Locks. We wanted to create, she formerly was, but we wanted innovation with tools and systems. And I came in wanting to help women who had issues with like block breakage and reattachment. And that's where I got that's how I created the extensions. But that's another story. I came into this wanting to have that same feeling. I don't even know what the sentence was that I started saying. And so that's why I went, oh, that I'm not just a random. I know people don't necessarily know me, or you may just found out about me, or maybe you've known me for a few years, but I left my old YouTube videos up because it's like, I've been talking about this. I've been incorporating this into my life to help other women still feel, and myself. This is more than, it's more than just hair. So good hair, doing good skills shows that you have a care and compassion for another person. It's more than just, and so those people who think like that tend to not jump on trends and bandwagons. They tend to make sure that the information is solid. And then if it's solid, if it's something they agree with and they want to incorporate it into their business, but they're discerning and they make sure they're not just going to take any dollar. It could actually turn away people if they're not a good fit. And if your relationship together is not going to create the results of, beautiful hair, beautiful experience, prosperity for the professional, as they continue to come back and gain, the money and the relationship. That is what it's about for me. So I don't know. I prayed before this. I said, Spirit, speak through me, because I just don't want to feel like, I don't want my message to be misunderstood. I don't know if it is, but I feel I don't know. Let me look at your comments. There should be a standard to system. Yes, girl. And so, Facebook user, there is. I'll just say there is something major coming down the way. I'm being a little quiet because I want to stay focused. And we're going to continue to, I'm going to continue to share information, free level and everything like that. There's just, you're having okay, you can watch the replay. Thank you. Okay, UK, yes. And so, oh, thank you. I experienced myself as a little feeling, makes my heart happy. Yes. And it's like, to the point, it's beyond, it's whoever is giving you that experience. If it was just like everyone was just getting these great experiences and I was seeing things, I'm like, oh, that's going to be a great, I didn't have to deal with 25 clients repairing that issue. And like, oh, that's going to be a great outcome. But it's like, no, I dealt with all these years fixing that. Are you seriously promoting this as a pro, or are you seriously trying to charge people to train, let alone the people that copied our program? We all know about that last year or 2 years ago. We had to do a cease and desist, but they're still out. Like, they come out with new names and they literally copied our thing, but then they added, oh, we're going to train you how to start with braids and twists. And that's when I knew that they didn't know what they were talking about. Why are you paying? Why are you charging someone for that? Like, you just call it a braiding class, but don't act like you are really understand this process. When you're catering to the DIY, a lot of that's what people go on YouTube for a lot of times, to learn stuff that they don't necessarily have a skill in. That's not a bad thing, but and it's fine, like I said, for what it is. But when you are carrying yourself as a training academy or program, or especially ones you copied a whole curriculum off of our program, you have to make sure you know what you're talking about. And that's where I got mad. It's like, it's not even that you copied, it's that you don't know what you're talking about. And people have paid you and paid you sometimes thinking that you were us. Like, it was a whole big thing, y'all. And I'm like, I'm not going to be quiet about certain things that I think people need to know. People were mad. They were emailing me like, I paid my money and I thought it was you. Another person was like, I was really mad at you because you talk about all this tight tension and great foundation. And I thought that was you talking about starting it with twist and braids. And I was like, that wasn't me, love. I'm always going to be consistent in my messaging, always. You're welcome. Dr. Dolores, thank you. I see trainers over mine. I'm like, right. The look is appealing, but the longevity, yeah. Oh, thank you. I mean, anybody can make a trade right now. I'll be quiet about I just tell people, be discerning. You'll know when you're looking at, look for credibility, receipts, longevity. That's probably what, because this niche is the way it is. I would just say look for receipts, look for date stamps. I can tell you a million times that I was how Microlocs in Brooklyn, New York, the only one on Google, but you can't see that anymore. But there are some receipts. There are some things that you can look at and see the longevity of what I'm saying, and that I'm not making it up. You can look and see, just let alone just the fact that I have them for 15 years and I show pictures of me having this. So it's not like I'm lying, it's nothing I'm lying about, but I also know some things are hard to prove, which is why we're in this capitalist society with legal and all that. So we're doing the best we can to make sure, but all I can say is I have to consistently give you information that I feel will be helpful, because at the end of the day, that's really what you want. You want results. You care less who says what. So, I remove my ego and say, okay, so whether or not people know that, can I still consistently give information that is going to keep giving the great result? And since it's coming from here and experience, I can't fake it. I'm not Googling somebody else's info. I don't even look at stuff because I can't take, I barely know what's going on unless somebody tells me. This is all coming from me on my notebooks, on my notes that I write down. I'll wake up in the morning and say, speak on this, speak on it, because you just dealt with this, or you've been dealing with this major problem for like the past, whatever, many years. You're from the Bahamas. You want to start. There are little to no microlocticians here on the island. I want to make sure I gather enough information before going for it and possibly learn technique. Yeah, great. You're welcome. I feel like we had somebody in Bahamas. Maybe we didn't. Maybe not. And then teaching before I joined, I saw that. Yeah, they were pop. Again, that's just the society that we're in. That's the strong skin you have to grow as a business, and why. And I did make sure that I trademarked a couple of things. And I was just like, even then, someone was like, oh, we're going to call our business Microloc Master. And like, are you serious? And have the same colors. So it's always, I just say, if you're going to make an investment that you really care about, as far as money or time or whatever, that you see enough, that you honor your intuition, that you see enough information. And yeah, I can't, it's sad. It's sad. That's why I speak up about certain things. I think I made a video about what to look for. But some of the things that I have said about how you can discern, obviously look at the track record. So if sometimes, so Microloc Mastery name was just in 2020, but it is under Naturally Beautiful Hair Care, which is a business that's been out longer, and it's longer. You can actually see things that I've been doing under Naturally Beautiful Hair Care for over 10 years. Even when they changed the logo, so I even explained that so that you can see that there's these foundational methods and experience come from something that actually existed and it has a footprint. You can see there's clients, there's people, there's publications, which was very helpful to be published with Naturally Beautiful Hair Care with my name. There's just things that I think that will help know, okay, at least this is a legit business, and this business has been around at least 10 years, or, and at least I can see, I don't know, what something else I was thinking, but the look for the legitimacy. Publications are really good though. So have their work published? And then also, how does their hair look? Like, I don't know how anybody's hair looks. I'm not taking a jab at anybody, but I think this business came out of my experience. So I can only speak from what I know. So going through the process, going through the steps, getting trained, laser focused on refinement, repair, strong locks, and continuously showing that for all these, like, that is something that you can't really fake. So want to make sure people, if that is what you connect to, because there are scammers out here, scamming, taking, copying, not giving credit. And that's all the stuff that you have to kind of have a thick skin for. But it's all a little disheartening as a Black person to see it happen. And I think if there was somebody out there that was just doing great work, I can't deny their work. If they're like, excellent results, excellent, look at these clients from 10 years or whatever. Look at all these great results. Look at all these great receipts. That speaks volumes, as opposed to just like, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you really nice, lit, beautiful, because we don't have a whole bunch of just install pictures up and down the timeline unless it's student work, because it's more than that. It's deeper than that. It's actually fundamental knowledge and education that's replicatable, has an origin, has a standard, has best practices, has proven, industry proven results. And that is why I speak on what I speak. All right, y'all. I gotta put my therapy hat on and get ready to go do some therapy. But before I go out, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the video that I was talking about, the summary of the 3 major methods, the 3 common methods, and what I found in my little experiment, a little homemade experiment. And I'll go ahead and play the video out. So if you have any more questions or you're watching the replay, just put it below. I'm sorry, y'all, my nose. I talk so much, I have so much fire in me. I'm so thirsty. We're gonna follow up that conversation a little bit later. Because I got more to say right now. Here is the video. Let me get the volume up. Okay, I'll make it bigger so you can see it. Okay. For many, 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 many years, I've been talking about strong, refined locks that have a really strong foundation. I've been talking about problems with lock methods. What I want to do today is show you putting these lock methods to the test. I'm demonstrating 3, and you will get to see the beginnings of what I talk about when I talk about how they evolve. I'm going to show you the pictures first. You see in this picture, there are 3 ways. On your left is the interwoven. In the middle is the braid. And to the far right is a 2-strand twist. I use the same exact amount of hair in each section as if I was doing a foundation. You can already see right from the install size the differences, with the 2-strand twist being the largest, the middle braid being widest, flattened, and the interwoven being skinnier. Do you see all the space that is in between, that's starting to come out already of the 2-strand twist, the space that's there? And then you can see the braid is much tighter, but it also has, in its pattern, has the space in it flattened. And then you see on the left, the interlock. What I did was, I did a light wash, like I would do any new install. First of all, I'm wondering how much that is actually being done, because the first wash is actually crucial to the installation. I don't see it being done sometimes. So that doesn't give you an accurate look when you just have a 2-strand twist dry, braids dry, or even interwoven lock dry. You actually are not going to still get a realistic look until you activate that curl. If you stretched out the curl, it's in a style. So after a light wash, let's look at what they look like. So already you can see the differences in the 2-strand twist right away. That changed the most. And in the middle is the braid, and the left is the interwoven lock. We're talking about the fundamental structure. This is dry, is that I see spaces in the braid as well, and the loosening that sometimes happens at the bottom of the braid. The unraveling can start from the bottom sometimes. And also sometimes these spaces, because it's flat, I could turn it that way it's skinny, I could turn it that way it's wide, the holes in there. It becomes a big project if we're going to close it all up. And the interwoven lock, yes, that could happen as well, but it's designed to lock cylindrically. Where's the pattern? The pattern in the twist is very weak. It's easy for me to just stick my finger in and unravel. If you wanted it smaller, more refined, and you started in another method, it could potentially be the method that used to start.